We're getting really close. Hey everyone, my name is Neil, and this is Real Terrain Hobbies. And we're back again here. Hey guys, Neil coming at you once again. Sorry I've been a little bit long since the last one, but we're back here. And in case you've missed it, if you're new to the channel, we're working on a huge gaming board for Tabletop World. And if you don't know who those guys are, man, you gotta go check them out, because they make insanely detailed, realistic, medieval style, fantasy gaming buildings. And they are just absolutely crazy, absolutely insanely detailed and beautiful. We had Brent from Goobertown Hobbies.
Brent from Goobertown Hobbies here.
Come all the way over here to help me paint these things up from the US. He flew himself all the way down. We got these things painted. Now we're making this crazy board. And so we already got the groundwork done. The big base is built. All the mountains and all the terrain is formed, and we got some grout and stuff down, the flocking and things like that. Now we're moving on to the vegetation with diorama precipice stuff. And if you don't know who that is, there's links down below. It's all the stuff we're going to be using in this video to just make this thing look insanely beautiful. Like, it's crazy how good his products are over there. This thing is looking really good. So without any more blabbing here, let's just go get to the board, get making this thing, and let's make this look absolutely incredible. I feel that this is really plain right now still, that we can really do a lot more with this once we get the water in there, the river, and all the bushes and trees and shrubs. This thing is still has a long way to go yet, and it's gonna be epic. All right, so just to quickly introduce you to these diorama precipice elements again. Those are the packages there. If you haven't seen the first video, go and check that one out. This is mostly an organic product. It looks absolutely stunning, but it is a little bit more on the delicate side, but it is well worth the trade-off. All right, so I've decided to continue working along the riverbed here, kind of continuing from where we left off with these shrubs over here by the bridge. I put a little bit in already of this grass kind of stuff here, and some other elements, this green stuff here too, and it's looking awesome. I'm using PL Premium for the glue just because it's really tacky and sticky, and it keeps these pieces held upright. So yeah, we're going to continue on with this river here and see how she goes. All right, so these bushes and things, they look insanely realistic. They are very convincing, but don't expect them to really kind of make your scene look amazing just by slapping it down. I did find it a little bit difficult at times just to figure out exactly how I'm going to use them together, what way, what kind of combination with what different plants and things to really make this look good. So I'd highly recommend, if you're having issues kind of figuring out how to blend it in, mesh it in, and make it look awesome, go and look at some references online. Get an idea that way of how things work out in nature and how they look together. Or go out for a walk just out in the backyard there, out in the country somewhere, and see how things look. Take a camera with you or your phone and just take a few pictures and get that idea of how nature likes to combine things and make them look natural. Okay, so things are looking really incredible. I'm loving how all this diorama, these elements here are coming together. It's looking pretty awesome. I want static grass, but I want it to be longer. I realized the static grass applicator doesn't work very well with the longer stuff. So I went to my hobby shop today here in town and got some of these Woodland Scenics longer grasses. So we got some of these. I'm going to be putting these in. probably along the fence line, because the fence line, there's always tall grass in there. It doesn't get walked on or trampled on. I'm gonna throw these grasses on, and this board is coming together quite nicely. Pretty impressed. All right, I thought it was obviously a great idea to put a fence here. You got the highway, you got the farmland, we got to separate the two. We put these posts in on the last video, and now it's time to really dress this up. This is kind of one of our really nice main features. Well, it's a big feature anyway on the board here. So obviously we got lots of grasses and things growing in underneath. I decided to throw a little bit of static grass on too, just to kind of add a little bit more to the natural overall look. Threw some bushes along there, not overdoing it, but just adding in just enough just to make it look really nice. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. All right, so we're mostly done with our fence, and now I want to move on to this farmland. As you can see, taking away our little cottage here, that this is really bare and really flat. I'm thinking maybe like wood stack and some flocking, things like that. We'll go with the lighter grout rather than this earthy dark tone here. Anyway, let's get this guy done right here. All right, so rather than using a bunch of sculpt mold again to build this area up, I just went straight to the grout. And actually this one is not grout, this is just a standard cement. I got a bag of cement. And I really like this. It brings out a lot of little pebbles and things, which adds a lot of character. And now I'm just adding in more dirt mounds and things, and making it look like tilled land, tilled farmland. It's a really simple and easy method and very effective and looks great. All right, it's time to make us some trees. I've got a whole tree making station set up here for this. We're going to be making 5 or 6 of these trees, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. We'll find out as we go and we start to populate the board exactly what I'm going to be needing. If you saw last time, on the last video, I did make these 2 guys here already, and they turned out really well. So there are 2 main components to these trees. Number 1 being a little secret weapon of mine called sagebrush, or many others have used these things too for trees. And they are absolutely incredible. I've got this stuff, we got this stuff here in central Canada, and you just go and you prune the dead stuff off these trees. They grow in the wild, or these little shrubs. And as you can see, I've got a huge box of this right here. So these are all little tree armatures. Here's a bigger one right here. As you can see, this guy, yeah, it would definitely fit in there. And we got sizes from this, so you can get even bigger ones than that. They've got little knots and everything in there, and they're just up close. They look incredible. So we're going to be using those guys, as well as the tree canopies from Diorama Precipice. I'm going to use that up, and I've got this guy. This is kind of a lighter olive green on here. And we're going to start with this and kind of a medium-sized tree. I think I want to go with this guy. It's medium to small, just like so on each of the little branches. And I just put it on along the length of the branch there. This is just kind of more tacking them into place using this glue here, and then later we can actually use some PVA to really make it solid on there. So yeah, I'm thinking it's better off if you spray the canopy pieces rather than just the armatures. The glue seems to really soak into the wood and it loses that tackiness. All right, so here is our tree. Now I'm going to fasten this on with PVA glue, but despite what I just said and what I did with the spray adhesive, I've actually discovered a much better way of doing this, and it's kind of funny because I put this way down before in my Wizard Tower video, and that is, yes, using a hot glue gun. Seems so basic to so many of you, I'm sure, but honestly, I did in that Wizard video the tower, kind of put it down a little bit because I've had bad luck with it in the past. As a kid, I was sort of traumatized, didn't want to touch it anymore, but really it works so much better, so faster, and very, very easy to use. So just grab a hot glue gun and tack those bushes on just like that. So moving on to the road here, I wanted this to look nice and natural, so I'm using again 3 different colors of grout: a gray, which is the cement, a light brown, and a dark brown. Obviously the dark brown for the rich, nice, fertile soil. I'm actually mixing in some flocking there as well, and then the grays and lighter browns for your rocky pathways and things like that. And of course, with a big board like this, we gotta add some static grass. We pull out the static grass applicator. Just having that standing grass in there does so much for the overall look and realism of the board. And yeah, we gotta throw in some static grass. So now we're moving on to the riverbed here. We've got some roots coming out the side there, just to add some extra realism in there. I got these from a root ball from a fallen tree out in the backcountry. Now it's incredibly important that you seal off the ends very well. I'm using Liquitex gel for that, combined with some tuck tape here. Otherwise, all your resin could leak out overnight. Okay, so we're about to get with the water here. This is one of the most exciting parts of any build, obviously, is putting on the water effects. So I've got my mixing cup there, and I've got my 2-part epoxy resin. This stuff is called Envirotex Light. I've only been able to find this in Canada. I'm not sure if it's in the US or anywhere else. Anyway, on the Real Terrain Hobbies store there, on the Amazon store, you can find all the different types in your country for this stuff that is clear, and it's the exact same thing. So this is a 2-part. You put equal parts into the cup, mix it around, and follow the instructions on the package. Is actually a specific way to mix this stuff up. And then I'm just going to be adding in some color, and we're going to start on the waterfall. And that thing, I've got some different ideas, something I've never tried before. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we get there. For now, let's get to some water effects and get this river going. Alright, so we're starting on the waterfall here, and I'm really excited to do this one. And we're going to be using cotton balls for this. So I'm going to just stretch these out a little bit first here. I want to make sure my resin's not getting too hot. This is pretty full. That heats up pretty quick all on its own there. So I got this here. I'll get my spoon and just dip it right on in like so. Put it down here like this. So the memory card on my camera gets used up really quick here, and we lose the footage. So this is what we end up with. Now, if you want to know how to get that, I got a whole video dedicated to how to do this in this method specifically. So I'll have that right up in the corner here. Click on that link and you can watch that video, and it'll show you exactly how to make these waterfalls, which are really crazy, really realistic, and have so much motion in them. It's an awesome method, so go check that out. But I'm just pouring on my different layers now, my next layers of the resin. And again, for the bubbles, all I use is a torch. I said carbon dioxide before, but it's actually just the heat that pops those bubbles and gets rid of them. And now we're just adding in extra foliage from Diorama Precipice. These bushes here are incredible. I think these are probably the best part out of the stuff that you can get there, is making these bushes. They're super realistic, awesome stuff. And this bush here, I actually had it on the shore. It didn't really fit there, so I moved it over to the farm area. And now moving on to our windmill. So we got the windmill there and the owner just beside him. So their doors are facing some cliffs. Not the best situation to be in, so we better add a fence into here. I'm just using, again, some sticks. These are actually pine sticks that I'm using from our Christmas tree, and then putting on some twine, some hemp string that I got from Michael's, and gluing that into place. And it really adds a lot of character and overall finishes things quite nicely. Now, I know some of you commented that the windmill should be higher. Well, sorry, we gotta I'm limited with space on this board, so I put it where it'll fit the best, and we're just gonna have to deal with it like that. But anyway, moving on here. So we're going to the farmland. Now, I have these crop strips from Tajima One. Now, these things are awesome. Go check out his webpage there to order some of these strips. He does all sorts of tufts and everything. I did add in these other elements. This stuff here is from no one. This is just actually some grass from Michael's. Looked terrible. I had to dig it out with my Dremel tool, and I just put some strips back in there. And these crop strips, again, look so good. Very happy with how all of this turned out. So, I've been having a bit of a tough time here with the shoreline just behind me, kind of along the ridge here. It feels kind of unnatural. It's been bugging me for a while. I've redone this section a couple times already, but as you'll notice here, there's actually a bunch of roots coming out of here, and that means that the ridge there along the riverbank is very soily. So it'd be easily eroded. So basically, you have your shoreline here. And this is the river down here. It's kind of protruding away from the river, which I don't feel is very natural. Well, what would happen is the water would be eroding against the side of the soil there, and it'd slowly get eaten inward like that. And then at the top, you'd have your grasses and whatever, and all the roots kind of holding it together, things together at the top, while the underside is getting carved away by the water. So I'm gonna try to do that using some Vallejo texture. The ground texture paste is white, but I'm going to try to do that. Maybe I can color it in with some grout somehow, get it to stick on. Let's give it a shot and see what happens. So our resin has completely dried now and is hard. It's a teeny tiny bit tacky. It's been drying for maybe 12 hours. I think for a full cure you need over 24, but it's definitely good enough for applying on our Liquitex gel. So the ripples with this gloss gel medium. This is the medium consistency, so it's not too thick, but it's got some playability. So all I do is take off the lid. I got a brush about this size that I'm going to be using for stippling it on. Dip it in, grab quite a bit. I'm probably going to use quite a bit of this. So just do that and stipple it on simply like that to get your little ripples and your waves in there. And that's it. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll let it dry, and it's going to look awesome. Okay, so here we are. We got the farmland all done, and man, I'm really impressed trying to do justice to these Tabletop World buildings. It's crazy medieval farmland. I'm happy with how things have turned out. I think it looks really awesome, really good. Really, all these diorama elements, diorama precipice stuff, and the Tajima one, all the farmland here. Everything has just really come together with the rock molds, all of it. I'm really happy. Man, this is really looking good. So again, a big thank you to the stars of the show, Tabletop World, man, these guys. This is what this is all about, trying to do these buildings justice to them. And I know you guys are going to be asking where I'm going to be storing this thing. I got an awesome, perfect spot right over there. It's going to look really good on camera in the background of the studio. And yeah, so, and also gaming board, a bit. It's not at all modular. It's basically a giant display diorama for these buildings. It's gonna look so good down here. Gaming, yeah. Replayability, it's more for inspiration and a beautiful piece to show off these buildings. And yeah, so big thank you to my patrons. If you want to support the channel, help me to do things like this, you want to see more of what I'm doing here, head over to Patreon, sign up there and support the channel and me that way. It really goes a long way into helping this channel grow, helping me during these troubling times. So if you are interested at all in supporting the channel, head over to Patreon. And it really does go a long way. So big thank you to the guys over there already. You guys are incredible. And the giveaway, the Tabletop World giveaway, we still have the stables. Sorry, I kind of dropped the ball on that. I'm either going to do the giveaway just after this video, or I'm thinking maybe after the final video of this Tabletop World, which is the big city. You'll get to see this entire thing in all its glory. And we can do the draw then. So yeah, so stay tuned for the next video. The city section, that is already done. So it's done. I just have to finish up the editing, which is almost done already. So this next video is going to be way faster than this one was. This one took forever to get out. Sorry. Life's been crazy, busy, lots of things going on. But that one's going to be out really quick. And then there's going to be some awesome stuff going on after that. So thanks again, guys. Loving this board. It's coming along really well. Very excited. So thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.